The second doubt is, can a person who just by invoking the name Amitabha be reborn in the Western Pure Land? Devotional Buddhism does not maintain that birth in the Pure Land takes place without a cause. So there is cause and effect. But the primary factor in its causation is the invocation of the name Amitabha, by chanting Amitabha, by being mindful of Amitabha. We cannot say that it's without a cause, without principle. What does it mean by the invocation of the name Amitabha? Yesterday's lecture, Mr. Chen explained this to us. Vow number 18 of Amitabha, it says that the meaning of chanting Amitabha should have criteria. The first criteria is that you have this joyful faith. Right? Believe in me, which is the Buddha, with serene thoughts. Right? 自心信乐. In chanting Amitabha, being mindful of Amitabha, you need to have this condition, which is to have joyful faith, and also the earnest to be reborn in that country, in the Buddha land. And then from there, you can chant 10 times, 20 times, how many times you want. But the basic criteria are, one, have this serene thoughts or joyful faith, and the other is the wish to be reborn in the Western Pure Land. So cause and conditions. The visualizations on Infinite Life Sutra, 观无量寿经, or 无量寿经, it says that even one has committed 10 evil deeds and the 5 deadly sins can be reborn there. Is that even possible to have committed such great offenses and still be able to reborn in the Western Pure Land? One way to answer this is that if karma is interpreted in a strictly individualistic sense, then it's unanswerable. Meaning that if karma is fixed, if that person has committed evil karma and it has its nature, then it cannot be changed because it exists on its own, which is in a way meaningless or unanswerable. If you look at it from that perspective where it has its own nature, and if the evil deeds have their own nature, then you cannot change the deeds into something else. And therefore, that would contradict the Anatmat, Sunnada's doctrines, no self, doctrine of no self or emptiness. Karma needs conditions and environments in order to come to fruition. You may have created an evil deed, but if there are no conditions, there are no environments, then those deeds will not come to fruition. So the phenomena are not fixed, unchanging nature. They are changeable. So things can always change based on conditions. It is possible for a person to have committed evil deeds to have rebirth in the Western Pure Land because nothing has fixed, unchanging self. But it does not mean that we are encouraged to make offenses. That's not what is meant here. From a non-individualistic interpretation, 无我, right, from that perspective, then you can use the method of merit dedication, 回向, 回hướng, parinamana. You can use that method to transfer one's person's merits to benefit other people. A person who can resonate with you, you can transfer that merit and enable that person to rise above the obstructions that they may be facing or they have created for themselves. It is said that Amitabha's stock of merits are so immense, infinitely immense, incalculable, that even after he has used the merits to create his world, there are still remaining surplus merits to be shared with sentient beings. So when we identify ourselves with Amitabha, a portion of his merits is transferred to us. And it is more than enough to counterbalance our past evil deeds, but it can also ensure our rebirth in the Pure Land. Right? It has enough to pick us out of the hole that we have dug for ourselves, but fly into the skies, if you will. So when we practice Pure Land Buddhism and we are reborn in the Western Pure Land, it does not mean that the law of cause and effect has been suspended for our benefit. It doesn't mean that we take exceptions to the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect, the law of karma, is still operating. The law of conditionality is still operating. It's just that we better utilize the law of conditionality by giving ourselves the proper conditions for our merits to grow and our evil karmic seeds to be suspended in a sense, to not have opportunities to grow. For example, you may not have the ability to cross a body of water, but if you jump onto a boat, then the boat can take you over. If you have created a lot of evil karma, it's like a big heavy rock. There is no way for it to cross the body of water. It will sink down to the bottom. But if you are to put that big rock onto the boat can carry you over. So the boat here represents the merits, the vows of Amitabha, the powers of Amitabha. In the Indo-Chinese form of Pureland doctrine, Sukhavati is outside of the realms of the samsara, outside of three planes. The planes of desire, the plane of form, and the plane of formlessness. Consequently, it cannot be said to exist absolutely, but only in relative sense. Sukhavati is as relative as the world that we are living in. Because this world that we are living in, that we think exists, is because of our senses. And some people will not perceive it the same way. Some people perceive this world very happily. Some people perceive this world in a very negative way too, right? So the world that we have, we cannot say it absolutely exists. It's relative. So the Pure Land is also relative as well. And so it exists because of our merits. It exists because we resonate with the vows, the aspirations of Amitabha.